There have been reports of potential backstage heat between CM Punk and Kevin Owens. Elsewhere, an absent NXT call-up has made their in-ring return, and major AEW stars make shock indie appearances. It's all in the wrestling news right now. Hello everybody, it's Jack, the jobber and star of Monday Night Raw.
SmackDown as well, apparently.
Whoa!
Apparently the voice was on SmackDown
He's
too.
a free agent.
Which is pretty
He's
cool.
everywhere.
Where is he going to turn up next?
Andrew Hodkinson, everybody.
hello.
After his reaction, of course, to CM Punk's shocking return, we're starting off, Andrew, with news regarding CM Punk. This weekend, obviously, it was announced by WWE that CM Punk will be making his return to the blue brand, like you did, to be part of the Tribute for the Troops special. He was last on SmackDown, it says here, in January 2014.
Wow.
Really shortly before his final ever appearances. When he was feuding with the Shield. But Andrew, Kevin Owens' recent comments about WWE about Kevin Owens' recent comments about CM Punk's WWE return. Sorry, it's really cold. Have left many questioning if there is some animosity between the two.
Yeah. So when asked about Punk's comeback by James Williams, Owens responded curtly with, "I just want to have fun at work. So if he's got that mindset, great."
I think that's fine. Obviously, it has led to people speculating that there might be heat between the two. We've got another detail that could add to that. But, you know, the background to this essentially is that Punk and Owens used to be in Ring of Honor together. Punk apparently made comments about Kevin Owens wrestling in a t-shirt, saying, look, that's not a main eventers sort of thing to do. As we know, I was about to say Punk was famously quite uncompromising in his younger days.
Yes.
But it could have carried on, maybe.
Yeah.
Owens is also, this is the first thing that sprang to my mind, he's friends with the Bucks.
He is big friends with the Bucks. Mount Rushmore, that was what he was in, wasn't
Rushmore.
he?
Was it them and Adam Cole?
Yes, I think it was.
So he's been friends with the Young Bucks for years, and obviously it was the Bucks. They were one of the parties that CM Punk was in a real life feud with. Loggerheads with during his AEW run. Despite this, there was speculation that during Punk's sabbatical / suspension from AEW, there was a pitch for him to return to WWE and feud with Kevin Owens.
Which would have been weird because I believe at that point in time it was Sammy and Kevin versus the Usos, like embroiled in the Bloodline storyline.
Okay.
When those talks were kind of like going around. So it would have been odd for Punk to come back and then just get into a feud with Kevin, I guess, then at least.
It would have, but I think if someone like with of the magnitude of Punk returns, maybe that's a rare example where like current storylines can just be put on hold.
Yeah, I don't know. That felt like a very developing one at that period in time.
You're right, and it was all around WrestleMania and everything.
Yeah.
But anyway, what's the extra little bit of info that people have kind of thought might be an extra signifier of heat between the two?
We fast forward to this Friday on SmackDown, and Kevin Owens, he bloody decked Austin Theory so hard he was sent to the local medical facility to be x-rayed. WWE gave an update over the weekend revealing that Kevin Owens has fractured his 4th and 5th metacarpal and is likely to miss SmackDown this Friday. And coincidentally, this is the show that will feature CM Punk's SmackDown return.
So they possibly have written Owens off then, so that he doesn't clash with Punk's first appearance on SmackDown.
Yeah.
It could be. I'm doubting that very much that this is a real injury because it was a worked punch, but. It could be to check on some other injury or something like that. It could be because he had planned time off. We don't really know, but the timing of it, I understand why it's added fuel to the fire a little bit.
Yeah, peculiar for sure. Maybe they do it. Maybe it's a thing that they do on purpose to make us then believe that there's something there, and then we work it into a storyline somehow too.
They did with Rollins.
Yeah, they
his
did with
reaction
Rollins
at ringside.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm excited. I really do hope, and I think we will get those two together in some capacity, in a feud of some sort.
Yeah.
And I think they'll probably maybe even work in like the Ring of Honor stuff, like do a callback to it. Kevin can be like, you thought I could never main event looking like this, wearing this, and look where I am now.
That's a very good point.
In the mid-card on SmackDown.
They did similar things in AEW with him and Eddie Kingston.
Yes,
Eddie Kingston brought up real-life previous grievances they'd had, and it led to a wonderful match.
Yeah, and I think you could get something of a similar caliber to that as well.
I would agree, Andrew. I think you're a very clever boy. You've got something
about
you.
Stop it.
Now heading to ring name trademark news. The Wrestling Observer has revealed that WWE has trademarked the following names, which myself and Andrew both independently fact-checked.
Yes.
Because two of them have the same first name, which in WWE, that seems like something they try and avoid.
Yeah, it definitely does. Especially given, well, we'll get to the names. So the names are Keanu Carver, And then,
I'm doing Neo from Matrix.
because he's carving out shapes
no,
to dodge the bullets.
And that, because of Keanu. But yeah.
And that as well.
No, that was really good.
Thank you. We've got Dion Wilder as well, and Dion Lennox. Obviously, two Dions there.
Two Dions, both with kind of this reminds me of like names like Apollo Crews. These names have, because I always accidentally call him Apollo Creed because of the Rocky character. But also like Dion Wilder is one syllable away from being Deontay Wilder.
Yep.
Dion Lennox, not as obvious, but I guess you could say Lennox Lewis if we're going with the boxing theme.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it is some sort of like, maybe it is a boxing gimmick for someone. Perhaps,
possibly,
you reckon?
Maybe it could be. And it was pointed out, I believe, by our own Jack Atkins that we were like, oh, it's weird that they've gone for two of the same first name, and he was like, maybe they haven't yet decided which one they want to assign to whichever WWE superstar.
Yeah, I'd imagine that's the thing. I wonder if they have done this on purpose though. Maybe it is some kind of striker.
I'm now imagining like a wrestling family where they don't all share a surname, they all share a first name. All the Dions. Weird. Okay.
I quite like that.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea.
Now, we don't know yet who those names are going to be attached to, of course, but we can assume that they will be new NXT wrestlers, potentially even starting on TV very soon.
Yeah, you'll be excited because there'll be more to add to the chaos that is NXT, even though it's been calming down a bit recently, right?
No? I guess so. Well, Von Wagner went for a meal at Robert Stone's house.
I did see this.
And it ended up being one of our... someone mailed in with like a tournament of all-time NXT segments, and it got pretty close to the... It might have even won.
That's exciting.
Anyway, speaking of NXT, an absent recent NXT call-up to the main roster made their in-ring return recently. This weekend, on the WWE Live Holiday Tour, Odyssey Jones competed for the first time since September, teaming with Cameron Grimes in a losing effort to Austin Theory and Grayson Waller.
Shuey. I'm excited to see Odyssey Jones back. Jones got a SmackDown call-up over the summer, but has yet to make an on-screen debut for the main roster. He's been doing a lot of dark matches and stuff there. There was speculation that he might be added to Bobby Lashley's stable alongside the Street Profits too. I think that would be a nice addition. Like, I don't know what's cracking with the Bobby Lashley Street Profits stable at the moment, but maybe you get someone in like Odyssey Jones who absolutely just demolishes through everybody.
Yeah.
And then we get a little bit of stock back in that group.
I'd like to see Odyssey Jones have more of a character development, because in NXT, as myself and Ross have mentioned in the past, his gimmick was man with van.
Yes.
Who
Men with Ven.
Who takes other baby faces off to the nightclubs.
Oh, nice.
Like, Idris Enofe and Malik Blade would have just be like, they'd be celebrating a win in the car park.
Yeah.
And he'd pull up in his van with some ladies in the back and be like,
that sounds a bit suspicious.
all right, lads, they were his friends. All right, lads, we're heading off to the nightclub.
Yeah.
Do you want to come? And they'd be like, oh,
this guy.
maybe. If he does join Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, it could lead to a new golden age in WWE.
I quite like that.
Speaking of golden ages, there's a massive new video on the channel that went up this past weekend. I think it's part 1.
Yes, there's a few more parts coming out.
Of the golden age of WWE. Big shout out to everybody as part of the team who worked on it. I was not one of them, were you?
No, it was Sam Driver, it was Matthew Stewart, and it was Justin Henry.
And they've
three wonderful boys.
Absolutely, and they did a marvellous job as well. So do check out that video, which is on the channel right now. It's already gotten very lovely feedback.
It has.
And long may that continue, because they worked really, really hard on it.
They did.
Now, crossing the divide to AEW. A couple of major AEW stars made shock indie appearances. First of all, their newest high-profile signing, Will Ospreay.
Yeah, surprised the crowd at Rev Pro last night. He commented on Twitter as well, saying, "Thought I would pop in and say hello to my old stomping ground of Rev Pro to drop a couple of bars on Gabriel Kidd. See you December 16th, prick." Ospreay will indeed face Kidd at Rev Pro, Uprising a week on Saturday.
I'll tell you what, I know both men. And I've got to say that Gabriel Kidd, he's been getting a bit too big for his booties.
A bit too big for his booties.
Yeah, he's hanging out with these naughty lads, and they're running around New Japan calling themselves, they're my dogs for real. That's their theme tune. These are my dogs for real. It's a really good theme tune. I love it. Yeah. When them bullets fly, these are my dogs for real. But he needs to be taken down a peg or two.
He does.
And who better than the aerial assassin?
And the United Empire. Get them dogs down. Well, don't do that.
These are my dogs for real.
They are real.
Beat him in a wrestling match.
Yeah.
Also this weekend, and this one was a little bit more out of left field because Ospreay's obviously got ties to Rev Pro.
Of course.
But Chris Jericho made a surprise appearance at Vietnam Pro Wrestling in Saigon. Jericho spoke to the VPW crowd off the back of, so basically he had a couple of VPW stars, Rocky Hoon, I don't know if I pronounced that right, sorry if I mispronounced that, Heynh, and Kerry Wass on Talk as Jericho. He appeared at VPW to induct Viva Van and Simi Sakai into the VPW Hall of Fame. Both were honoured as the first women to wrestle in a Vietnamese main event.
That's really cool.
That's really cool.
It's nice as well because I didn't have any previous knowledge of Vietnam Pro Wrestling.
No, not at all.
And now Chris Jericho's put that out into the ether for people to go and check out.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. I like that bigger stars, bigger names as well, can give something back, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of follows Jericho's modus operandi as well, because back at the Wrestle Dream Media Scrum, Jericho was asked about his shock appearances in places like PWG, DDT, and Rev Pro. I was there for that one. And he said he wanted to keep doing cool things that no one expects him to do. And one of those things, obviously, was this shock appearance in Saigon.
Absolutely.
He loves, because I think part of Jericho, everyone thinks of Jericho as like always reinventing himself.
Yeah.
And a lot of that we think of as his big gimmick changes or personality changes. But a lot of it's to do with like, as he says there, making moves that nobody expects him to do.
Yeah, for sure. And we've seen him do that throughout his career as well at this point. So it is nice to see him continue to do that and also put other people over, other promotions over at the same time.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Fair play, Chris.
What a guy, Chris.
Fair play. Thank you very much for watching this news video. I believe myself and Andrew will be back with more news later on today as well. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments section down below. I've been Jack, this has been Andrew, and we'll see you very, very soon.